So today we finally began our road trip through Canada. So for those who don't know, Kate and I left Australia in March 2018 and we spent about 7 months on the road in the United States. After that, we came up to Canada and started living in Lake Louise in Banff National Park. And after the winter there, we moved to the town of Banff, and that's where we've been for about the past year and a half. Now, with the whole global pandemic, that sort of stopped a lot of people from getting out and doing the things they'd been waiting to do. Luckily for us, we were always planning to leave in July, and thankfully, here we are. Today, we packed our van, finally, and we left our house, said goodbye to our housemates, and we've started our 3-month road trip through Canada. So the original plan for today was to drive from Banff up to Glacier National Park of Canada, which is in BC, just across the border. And while we were coming through, I didn't realise how far north we'd get, and we ended up in Yoho, and I decided I really wanted to see Emerald Lake again. So our plans have changed for the first couple days, and tonight I'm going to do a little photography here at Emerald Lake. But for now, we're quite early, so we're just going to sit back and relax, have some dinner, and then I'll get out and take some photos a bit later. Okay, so it's just about 10 o'clock here now, and for those of you who don't know, Emerald Lake is probably the most well-known feature in Yoho National Park in the Canadian Rockies. What's so nice about this lake is the lodge that sits on the little peninsula of land, and the restaurant, and then the bridge that crosses from the restaurant back towards the car park. It may look like it's out on an island in a lot of the photos. It's actually on sort of a small peninsula kind of thing. So while, just like at any location, there may be an infinite number of compositions, what most people like to photograph here is the bridge and the restaurant, which is called Cilantro, by the way. And whether that be at night or in the golden hour, sunrise, sunset, at night it's nice because you get reflections from the restaurant in the water. So pretty much what I'm concerned with here is any view you have of the bridge and the restaurant. Pretty much from the restaurant facing the car park, it's like a 180-degree view along the bank of the river. So this is sort of the classic shot of the restaurant across the water, and usually there's a different assortment of logs in the foreground here, but you can see that the lights on the restaurant are just starting to reflect on the water now, and this is probably going to be my first composition of the night. So I'll go out wide here. You can see the logs in the foreground, and I'm hoping to get somewhere around here or possibly even out in the water here. So I've gone for the boating look, and I've rolled up my pants. I've also tested the water, and it's nowhere near as cold as any of the glacial-fed lakes, so I should be able to get in it and take some photos just fine. So I'm trying to start off with the well-known image. I don't think there's anything wrong with that at all, but I'm hoping as I take each shot I'll progress and I'll change up until I've got something hopefully a little bit different. From where I am on the shore, unfortunately, the reflection of the main light on the front of the restaurant is being obscured by the log in the middle ground. And because the restaurant is actually closed, whole global pandemic, there's probably not as many lights on as usual. So I'm thinking I'm going to have to change, at least on this side of the bridge. I know I can go here, and there's some reeds just further along, close to the bridge, which might actually be a little nicer in terms of perspective, getting the leading lines of the bridge trailing way into the restaurant. But for now, I think I'm going to move over to the logs here and try and get another shot. Alright, here we go. Well, it's really not that bad. I mean, there's a few weird bugs in the water, and soil's quite soft. Give me a second here. That's safe, right? Ooh. Pull up my jeans a little bit more, and let's continue. Oh, that's real soft. Real weird. moving my camera around, seeing if there's a good composition. It's a bit cold. So I think the main issue with this spot is that when I get close enough to the water, to the rocks, the log off in the middle ground always seems to block out that view, block out that reflection on the restaurant. So I got a shot here. It's not the best. We'll move over to the reeds and hopefully get something a little more interesting and with a bit of a clear view. Right now the lake's actually higher than it usually is. Well, at least it's higher than what I've seen it before. So I will have to get a little further out. I like the idea of the camera, the photo being taken from within the reeds, quite low to the water. So as you can see, I've pulled out the bottom legs of the tripod first because I'm fine with getting the tripod completely wet, but I do not want to get all the little twist locks coated in mud. I think that would just be no fun to deal with. And unfortunately, out here, there's heaps of mosquitoes, which just seems to be like normal for Canada in the summer, which I don't understand, because you'd think that in the winter the cold would kill all the mosquitoes, but it doesn't. Somehow they still come back every single year. So I've already been bitten on the hand, but hopefully it doesn't get much worse than that. Alright, now I will attempt to get out into the reeds, get amongst them, and hopefully get a nice enough photo. Alright, so I waddled out there through the mud, and it was okay. I just couldn't get the right composition. The reeds, yes, I could get them to frame the image, but it just wasn't really enough. It just didn't really work out. The best photo I actually got there was one without any reeds in it at all, so it sort of defeats the purpose. Now it's getting a little darker. The reflection from what lights there are on the restaurant are sort of, they're filling out the scene a little bit more, so it's looking a little nicer, but I feel I just haven't gotten the best image that I could from this location. So I've come back to the first spot, as you can see. The lights on the restaurant are bleeding a little bit more, and still this log in the foreground is the issue, because when I get down low, that just seems to perfectly block the light at the front of the restaurant right there. So what I'm thinking is, one, I'll try and get maybe a higher photo from up around here. If I am taking a photo from up here though, if you see this patch of water in front of the restaurant and behind that log, I want to balance that with the amount of water I have right here, and then if there's even more, balance it with this. And that's why I want to get so low here, because I can bring these logs up higher into the composition and just balance the water between them. Now, who knows? For some people this may not be an issue, but at least when I'm taking the photo, that's what I'm considering. So what I'll do is I'll have another look here now that the lights are blooming a little bit more, and I'll set up and then I'll check back in with you. Alright, I know it's getting a bit dark, it's getting hard to see things, but I think I've found my composition. So I started right at the end of this log here, I moved into the water, and then out of the water I've been progressively moving closer and closer into this bush here. So what I've come up with is I'm a little higher, so I'm avoiding that log off in the mid-ground, and then I have the two logs that were right in front of me, and those two, along with the shadow of the closest one, are getting some nice strong lines through the bottom of the frame, creating a sort of vignette or a frame to the image. So there's a composition, and the actual settings, I'm keeping it at f11. I'm keeping it at f11 because I still have enough light for that, and I will focus stack this image. So I'm just going to start on the restaurant there. 2-second timer. I actually got the truck travelling across at that time, so may as well throw in another one. Now some people may be against blending different exposures. I think that's pretty par the course these days when it comes to photography. So if I have a couple exposures with light trails from the truck across the bridge in them, that's fine. I may or may not blend them in, because the next closest thing is this log that's a little further away. Check that, take that image, and then finally the closest log. Alright, and that should be it. Okay, I don't imagine you can really see much of me at this point, but that was the image. I have sticks poking me everywhere, and I'm sitting in mud and my pants are wet. I was going to wear shorts. And I was like, nah, it doesn't look that deep. I'll just roll up the cuffs of my jeans. Now, the bottom half of my jeans are wet. It's fine. I have other pants, and I don't seem to have been stung by many mosquitoes. Anyway, I've just gotten the shots for that image. Having a look at them, even though the back of the camera, while taking the photos, doesn't look like it's exposed throughout the scene, playing them back, there is detail even in the darker areas, so I'm pretty happy with that. I don't think I will use the light trails. They're very thick and red, and just they sort of stand out like a sore thumb. I like the sort of the creepy soft glow of the restaurant, and that is definitely enough for me. And I think with a little bit of editing, I'm gonna really pull out the best parts of this scene, which is just that soft light shining across the water. I'm going to pull out the best parts of this scene, which is the soft light shining across the water, and just how it makes it look like there's life and energy over there, but we're in a very cold and creepy area down here where I am. It's not creepy because of me. Alright, with that, I imagine Kate is waiting for me in the car. I think she's watching Rocket Man on her tablet. I'm going to head over the other side of the bridge, but I think the photo I just took then will be enough for this video. This is my first filming to camera about my photography. I know I usually just throw photos and videos. Not that I make too many videos these days, but I've really enjoyed it. I like having to explain my process and then actually to work through an image, not just think, that's good enough, I got that. It's nice to... It's almost like holding myself accountable, having to explain it to the camera. I'm going to see if I can keep that accountability going, go over the other side of the bridge and try and get 1 or 2 photos over there. Either way, coming up right now is all the photos I've taken at Emerald Lake this afternoon and this evening. And when you see me next time, I don't know where I'll be, heading up somewhere around Glacier National Park of Canada, Revelstoke. I may even be further than that, just depends on the locations. Cool. See you next time.